Perfect. So welcome, guys. I was really feeling the desire to just have a nice little connective time with you guys each week. I know that lots of you are running different programs, which is why I had kind of stepped back from holding a weekly call, because I know that lots of you were running your own versions of Begin or calls around empowered success, or maybe something even totally different. And we'll probably kind of ebb and flow into some of those different topics as well. But I just missed hanging out with you guys, and our team just keeps growing and growing, and there's always an opportunity for me to get to know some of you guys that have joined our team in the last several months. So I'll just spend a couple minutes saying hello and introducing myself, because you may be in this group. I think I know almost all of you guys that are on here, but for anybody that's catching the recording. So I'm Susan. I am your upline leader that runs the Thrive Life biz page. I have been building my doTERRA business now for just over 4 years, which is crazy. I don't think anybody ever joins this opportunity and thinks that it will be something that it literally where the years are going to pass. But I think we have a really unique thing going on here where that's the case. Everybody sticks around for the most part, which is a really awesome feeling. Especially for those of you guys that are newly exploring doTERRA. If you've had any other kind of exposure to a network marketing business, it probably hasn't taken you very long to realize how different this is. That it's really not like a network marketing business, even though our business model fits nice and beautifully into how network marketing works. But I was thinking the other day when I was thinking about chatting with some of you guys that I haven't had a chance to get to know yet, and give you just a little bit of background on what I did for the bulk of my working time before I had kids. I was a retail manager, so I was with The Gap for about 5 years, and then I was with American Eagle for about 8 or 9 years after that. Loved that job, loved being in a fast-paced environment where you're working with, helping customers out, running a business, keeping a store moving. And my favorite part probably was always just cultivating a team environment. If any of you guys have ever held retail jobs, chances are you stumbled into that during a high season, like a back to school season or a Christmas season. So I did lots of years of interviewing and hiring and building up teams during those busy times of retail. But as I got closer to starting a family of my own, I realized that all of those fun, busy, chaotic times in the retail world are all very much heavily centered around your weekends and your holidays. And it became really sort of obvious that I didn't want to have a job that pulled me away from family during holidays and weekends, right? And I'm sure there's lots of you guys on here that work jobs that are either shift work or a very sporadic schedule. And, sometimes that's nice to just kind of live spur of the moment and have days off during the week, but it may be a reason why you've started to kind of look at a doTERRA business as an opportunity to spend the next several months or couple of years building something in the pockets of your time so that you can begin to replace income, or at least make yourselves comfortable in a way that you could either step back from working full-time or maybe even leave a job altogether. We have several amazing women on our team who have done that, and it's just so inspiring to see people get to start living out a life of more presence, whether that's family that you were wanting to be more present with, or something else in life that just lights you up. It's a really, really cool gift to be able to see that actually taking place for people on our team. So if that's something that you're desiring and that's kind of why you've been pulled to the business side of doTERRA, then you're definitely in the right space. After I had my first son, though, my husband and I decided that I wouldn't go back to working retail, but I still needed to come up with some way to have some income coming into our house. And I had been dabbling a little bit with an Arbonne business, but hadn't quite ever figured out the right way to make that work for me. I was also taking just about every program that Ange Peters offered long before doTERRA ever fell in her lap. Some of you guys maybe knew her before doTERRA as well, but she just offered everything that I, as a new mom, was looking for in terms of just learning about better health and taking care of myself in the whole, like the holistic, whole fit way. So I was just very eager to soak up a lot of her knowledge and figure out what I was meant to do. I decided that working at a bank would probably be a good opportunity for me to create some part-time income. But then after that got going, I realized I was still working nights and weekends, and we were still flopping around with childcare trying to make it work. And that, for any of you guys who've kind of been on one of these journeys to figure out what's working, you've probably already found that you get really in tune with what's fitting and what's flowing. Likely for sure, if you've ended up in this doTERRA business, you have an awareness of that. And when you do, it starts to become really apparent, the people that are around you that have like no clue that there's a possibility to create a different way of living, right? They're just in their grind, maybe enjoying it, maybe not, but just really not aware of like and things and looking for something different. And that's a really cool book that you guys get to teach as you're figuring this out yourselves. So, you know, like really Dan and I, my husband, we've just been very good at every like 6 months or so sitting down and saying what's working, what's not, what do we need to change? That job wasn't working. We had just moved into a house that felt like a good fit for a home daycare. I had actually always wanted to be a teacher. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. This will give me an opportunity to be home with my little boy, have some income coming in, and got that up and running. And it was super enjoyable. But then doTERRA came into my life. And probably like many of you guys, when doTERRA comes into your life, it becomes really obvious what you're doing in your life that is not so enjoyable anymore. But case for anybody here? You just, you know, you start to realize, oh, I'm putting hours into this over here with doTERRA and it feels good and it never feels like work and I love the connections that I'm getting to make. And then you go back to your other job and you're like, oh, this is just trading hours for dollars, not so enjoyable. So, you know, when you get plugged into our community and the tools that are available for you to build a business and have this vision, you can truck along and create more with doTERRA so that you can say, you know, goodbye or no to other things that aren't so exciting in life anymore. So that's what happened. I built my doTERRA business in that year that I had my daycare, up to a place where I felt like there was enough momentum happening that I had enough confidence that I could shut the daycare and really pour all of my energy into doTERRA. And from there, you know, everything just continued to grow and grow and grow. I'm a big believer in if you create space for something and you show up and nurture that it will grow. This is a business that will definitely grow in proportion to the space and the belief that you pour into things. But the reason I'm telling you guys this is because everything that I did at American Eagle and TD Bank and running a daycare was all about providing a service to somebody, either educating them on their experience in the store or their experience in the bank or taking care of other people's needs. And all of those are the exact same skill sets that I apply to my doTERRA business. So I'm sure I could call on any one of you guys to either like describe what it is you do in a current job or what you've done in the past. And really it's just a matter of transferring skill sets. We're probably, again, the majority of us in a type of job or career where you are providing a service or showing up for other people, taking care of people, educating people. So I really challenge you to take a look at your doTERRA business and see where have you maybe told yourself a story that doTERRA is like something totally different when it's really not, right? It falls into a different business model, of course, but so much of what we have done in our past lives pre-doTERRA is all just show up in the same way, in new ways, with your doTERRA business, and all of a sudden it doesn't feel like you're doing something that's all that different than the rest of the world. So, like I said, I thought I would kick off today's call by talking about some of the events that are coming up over the next several months. I feel like there's a lot that we can tap into as leaders, but I just kind of wanted to outline what's happening each month so that you can pick and choose where your attention needs to go so that you have an opportunity to really connect with people after this call and make sure that if you've got customers in an area where there's an event happening or you yourself are really needing to fill your cup in a certain way that you can leverage that. I am just going to hit the mute button so you guys don't have to worry about your background noise. Oh, thanks, Christine. And then I'll open up my screen. Oh, shoot, did I record? Yeah, I did, okay. Okay, so let's talk about the events that are coming up. First one that I think most of you guys know about is our first biz opportunity and team celebration night, which I'm super, super excited about. This has been one of those events that I have wanted to put together with you guys for a long time. And sometimes it just takes biting the bullet and booking something and figuring it out after. But I met with a few of the leaders that are on this call today and a few that aren't about a month ago, I guess. And we kind of talked about what a good breakout of that evening would look like. And I know that traditionally in this business, we really don't spend a lot of time pumping up or talking about our business, which is such a cool thing, right? For people that's not their comfort level, you get to focus strictly on your oils and kind of see who sort of rises to the opportunity on their own. But I also really feel that we do this business in such an amazing and unique way that I feel like we need to share that with people. I feel like we need to get them together to experience our culture, to experience our stories, and really take a look at why this could be a perfectly timed opportunity for them to look at. I was one of those people that actually came to doTERRA right from the get-go with an interest to build this business, and I know that that's kind of a rarity. So it's sort of my passion to be able to paint that picture for people of what's possible if they are somebody who is, awake and driven and wanting change and ready to do what it takes to create change, because we all know that there's lots of people that want change that aren't going to do anything to make that happen. But we have such a cool community that just fosters an option for people to show up in whatever capacity fits for them. And I really value that about you guys, that you make this a team space, that whether somebody just wants to dabble a little bit and start to get their oils paid for, or whether they are really looking to shift into a different different realm and create space for their family and their passions, you guys make it an amazing place to do that. So what we're going to do on Tuesday the 10th, if you haven't kind of read through or talked with one of the leaders that know a little bit more about this, we'll have just a welcome and a really a quick brief overview, about 20 minutes long, of why doTERRA is a great business opportunity. So just giving people a little background on the company, the owners, some of the, the healing hands aspects, give them a little bit of knowledge of why this fits into a network marketing business, but why it's so different. And then what I think will be really cool is we're going to spend about a half an hour doing some team recognition. So this is the piece, this next hour chunk is where you're really going to want to touch base with the people on your teams who have expressed maybe a little bit of interest in the business. Maybe they've been casually sharing. This is the piece where we want to really help people see what they can be a part of. So what we would like to try doing is taking all of the people who have rank advanced in the first quarter, so January, February, and March. We'll put up some slides and just recognize, all of our, I'll have to kind of figure out timing wise, but we'll probably start at elites. And what we would like to do is just have the names of people who have ranked to elite, but also give the guests kind of an example of what an elite rank looks like, the kind of time investment that looks like, some of the skill sets that an elite would have, and then so on and so on. We'll celebrate our new premiers, our new silvers, golds, and beyond. And hopefully the intention with this is that the people that are there as guests, just kind of sort of feeling things out, can say, oh, yeah, no, that's a skill set I have, or that's something that I could totally shift and make time for. We want to just be able to help them identify what the ranks are and where they could see themselves fitting in. And then we're going to do a half an hour of a leader panel Q&A. So we've got, I think, about 4 or 5 of our seasoned leaders that are going to help answer some questions for the crowd, talk about, different things that they have a good knowledge of, different ways that they've been building their business. Again, if you've been to an event with doTERRA, specifically generally a leadership event or a business training, those panel Q&As I think are so valuable, right? Because that's when you get to really hear different people's journeys and their different experiences and thoughts. And again, there's always somebody in the crowd that's going to resonate with your message. So that'll be a half an hour. And then we've got some vendors that are going to come and let people do a little bit of shopping, a couple bracelet vendors, a wood oil holders, and then somebody with some hand-sewn oil pouches. So just some fun things that people can take away from the event. So I'll get some information from those vendors on what they accept for payment, but that's sort of how the night will flow. And then we'll plan to do this again in July. So totally open to you guys for your feedback. If there's something that you think would be really important to throw into this, especially those of you guys that have been building your business for a while, feel free to send me a message after our call and just say, hey, I think that this would be really cool to talk about, or this leader would be awesome to feature. And we'll just keep tweaking this and making it work for the needs of our team. So you can get those tickets for $5 over on the Biz page. You can register via Eventbrite. I think I checked just before I got on the call, and I think we have about 47 tickets, and the room holds about 100 people. So knowing that most people grab things last minute, if you've got somebody that you really want to be there, make sure you send them a message this week and have them register. Two other events that are happening up in the Kingston area. So for some of you guys, this may be, if you're more local to London, if this is up your alley, it may be something that you want to make a weekend of and drive down. But this is happening at the end of April on the 20th and 22nd. So it's a bunch of cross-line leaderships, several diamonds, blue diamonds, presidential diamonds. On the Friday, they're doing an open wellness class from 6 to 8. Again, that's at Queen's University in Kingston. And earlier in that day, there's a full day long, it's called Symphony of the Cells. This is a training that's put on by Boyd Truman. So he is a double presidential, I think. And I was sitting with Lee Freiling, who's this gal right up here in the picture. She's from BC. And she leaned over and said, if you can ever get to one of his Symphony of the Cells trainings, I guess he only does it 3 times a year. She said it will absolutely blow your mind and really, really deepen your understanding of how the oils work in your body. Some of you guys may have even picked up that book at one of the events. I don't want to say that it's similar to Aroma Touch because I don't know enough about it, but it's something to do with an actual like symphony of how the oils all work in your body. So that training is happening before that. So if that's something that you want information about, let me know. I'm just going to open up the chat box here. And then that night there will be a big wellness class happening for anybody to go to. Lisa, is anyone going from London? Not sure yet. I haven't asked, but this would be the time to sort of figure out because I think it would be a really cool experience. And then the Saturday from 9 to 5 is just going to be a wellness training event. So if you've been to something before where lots of cross-line leaders come together, it's so cool to just get different leaders' perspectives on their business and the things that they can teach. So definitely worth traveling out to, considering a lot of the times we're traveling to the US for things like leadership and convention. So if you can get to something that's, you know, a few hours away on a train or carpool with people, I think this would be really cool to plug into. And for those of you guys that have leaders down in that area of Ontario, I just wanted to make sure that they knew about it as well. Wellness summits start in April. So this is an opportunity for people, customers, people not enrolled, anybody that you want to share more about doTERRA with in a 2-hour time chunk where they get to hear a little bit of product education, a little bit about the company, information about Healing Hands. This is kind of one of those events where I'm like, you know, if you've got that person who would be like a dream business builder or just somebody who you know would love oils but just hasn't jumped on board yet, bring them out to a wellness summit. They're free. Oftentimes in the case, so here's the 2 dates. If you have anybody in BC, New Brunswick, or Halifax, these are the dates. This is all on doTERRA.com. And then in May, London, if you guys are watching and you're local to London, we host ours on May 17th. So what we're going to do actually is a business training event from 4 to 6, and then the wellness summit from 7 to 9 p.m. So if that's something that you need to make work arrangements for, if you're coming from out of town, and then here's the list of the other cities that are hosting as well. But again, really great opportunity for free for somebody to come out and sort of experience what our culture is all about. And then in June is the regional product training. So this is actually the only one that's happening in Canada. And this is a full day event that's strictly product knowledge. So I would be rallying anybody on your team that's doing this business for sure, because our business is all based on obviously our product, and customers too, customers that just love their oils and want to know a little bit more. So this is being held in Mississauga. It's $39 for a ticket. Your lunch is included. Oh, and sorry, there's one happening in Quebec in April. So 2 in Canada. Really awesome that for the majority of us, this is a quick drive to get to. And then following that event, so again, if you're planning to attend that, you may want to book a hotel. I believe the registration and the specifics on this should be getting posted maybe today or tomorrow, but an opportunity to get trained by a bunch of presidential diamonds in Canada, which is super cool. So that's happening on the 3rd. I'm not even sure if it's going to be at the same venue, but great opportunity to do a little overnight session with your leaders, Not that it's big. Oh, 39 US. Thank you, Jill. So the wellness product training is 39 US. So probably more closer to 45 for us. And then in July, we will do a second version of our Biz Opportunity and Team Celebration Night. So that's tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July 10th. I'll see if we can firm up a room at the Lamplighter again, and we'll just, we'll take what we do on the 10th of this month and make it even better. So that's lots that's going on, which is really about you guys just having an awareness of who on your team needs to get out on to something to experience. You yourself, where you want to make the investment of your time coming up over the next several months. But it's a cool season in our business because often this is the time where, people have kind of come out of the new year, either the new year funk or the new year drop of everything that they thought was going to happen in January and February. And maybe they're now looking at starting a doTERRA business. A lot of people tend to start their business sort of in the spring. It's just that season of renewal, right? So capitalize on that and really be the person who brings people together over the next several weeks and connects them into everything that's amazing that doTERRA has to offer. I do want to just chat really quickly with a couple of you guys. Maybe Lisa, I can call on you. Mary, I'm not sure if you're still on, but if you guys would just share a couple of your thoughts on, what it has meant to you to experience an event like leadership or convention, some of the takeaways that you've had, anything that you would recommend to somebody who's still on the fence or has maybe made the commitment and hasn't really, doesn't really believe that it's going to happen. But anything that you guys would like to add about events in general, I would love to hear. Lisa, I think you unmuted yourself, so I'll let you go first.
For sure. I find that often we end up building a business exactly what we're all doing right now. Like we're either in the basement or we're in our office, right? And I find it can get kind of lonely. And I feel like sometimes I lose touch of the bigger picture, what doTERRA is. We know it's amazing. We see a lot of big online presence and we get out to classes, but going to a large event is really inspiring. So I didn't go to leadership this year and I felt a little bit left out, but I just saw when Jerry came back, what the big change in him had been, right? He had not been to a big corporate event like leadership. And he came back super inspired and just having spent a few days with other people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, right? And again, people who are building a business and just that community, right? That I think we sometimes miss. And that's why I'm super excited about the event that you have coming up next week, because we have that at a local level, right? Where we can hang out with people and not travel. So just being inspired and seeing the bigger heart of doTERRA, which we all know is there. But I think sometimes on the day-to-day when we're doing, building our business, I think we don't experience that same amazing feeling. So I'm super excited to go to doTERRA to convention, and just experience 30,000 other people, right? Like that's the big extreme, but to be just in that culture and that feeling, just to feel that is incredible. And you're going to be inspired and I think just to renew your sense of, I don't know how to say, like the heart of doTERRA, just to experience that with that many other people is incredible. And that's at all level. I find that even, like I said, at our event next week, you feel that. You feel whenever you're in the room with other people who are building the business, you just get energized. And it's all the events are amazing, but the bigger ones, I really miss leadership this year. So we'll be there. Both of us will be there next year. So we'll figure out our schedule. So it's, highly recommend it. I think with convention too, now is the perfect time to start planning as opposed to last minute. So if you are going to plan on going, just commit to going and finding the ticket, knowing that there will be a ticket that comes available, but start planning, like teaching a couple of extra classes every month and save up to get your starter set of oils, or your the kit is always amazing when they release their kit of oils, and just to start planning now, so it's not a last minute decision and it's not stressful. But now is a perfect time. I think this is such a great month, the next couple of months, because there's no more big holidays. Kids are still in school, right? So to start planning for those classes. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. The momentum that gets poured in now, this is what shows up in a big way in the last few months of the year. So thank you for sharing that, Lisa. Mary, did you want to share anything?
So for me, events are so important. I know everybody always stresses them. All the top leaders stress them. And I think it's so important because you don't get to feel the heart of the company like you do when you are in that room with all those people. And the corporate ones, like the big ones, are where you can actually hear from the executive team talk, and you can, like June 2nd, when you're gonna be able to hear from like the scientists, and you're gonna be able to hear from all these people, you just walk away with a confidence level in what you're doing. It's priceless. Like, you don't get that from anything else. You, like Lisa said, like, you do this business a lot of the times by yourself. Like, we have our calls, but you're doing your classes by yourself. You're doing your work by yourself. And it's really easy to forget the big picture. And so I love going to a corporate event at least every quarter, just to kind of help remotivate myself and be like, all right, this is what I needed. I needed this. I needed to feel this love again. I needed to know why I'm not tucking my kids in at night every night, and why I'm busting my butt working a full-time job and doing this. It just reminds you of our purpose. And I find if you can get your leaders there too, then they can see that vision as well. And it's not just you, like, guys, trust me, like, this is a big deal. Guys, trust me. Like, then they see it for themselves, and then they're kind of backing you up on it with your whole team as well. So I'm one of those annoying leaders that last year I had a couple girls come to convention and basically said, like, they only came because of me, because I was harping on them. I was sending them, like, Kyle Kirschenbaum's video, like, see, he says you got to figure it out. Like, figure it out. Like, you got to come. And every single one of them is like, no, thank you for doing that, because I actually got to see that vision that I didn't see on my own.
Awesome. Yeah, so many things. It really is hard to sum up in words how many ways attending events actually benefits your business, the retention it creates, you're right, both you guys referenced, like, pulling you out of the loneliness, right? This is a business that you can start to feel a little bit lonely in. So if you ever are starting to feel that, don't let that last longer than a week. Plug yourself into something, whether it's somebody's calls or whether you are feeling like, okay, I don't know that I'm like ready to lead calls, but I'm just going to start doing it and start to create that culture and connection with people, because that is one of, like, the easiest / scariest steps to take in creating a space for people to start to unite and feel a part of something, right? Like, when you start this business, you'll definitely be plugging people into everything that an upline is offering, but at some point you're going to start to feel a little bit of either irrelevance in your role if you just feel like you're, brushing everybody off to what somebody else is posting. And what will really start to set your journey apart from everyone else is your ability to start to create that culture and connection with your own tribe, right? That's why people enrolled with you. There was something about you that was appealing to them, that they trusted. So you've got to leverage that and build a belief in yourself that even if you don't know what you're doing, like, might as well not know what you're doing with a bunch of people at the same time, right?
Yeah. For me too, I feel like going to these events helps you speak more intelligently at your classes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's always education, even if it's repetitive, right? It's a new way of hearing things. I know, Mary, you talked a lot about having somebody, like 3 different people, explain the power of lifelong vitality in your business, right? It's like, okay, come home with something that fuels new movement. Lindsay Shaw, can I actually call on you to expand a little bit on your post here? I know that you've definitely been a person who's made sacrifices and made events work with little ones in tow. And
yeah, I just think that, if you're on this team, that your perception of what doTERRA is might be, Ange or Susan or whomever, you look up to. And for some people, maybe they don't connect with that, or maybe that's a little bit intimidating. And I think to be able to hear other people's stories and listen to other people speak, it just gives you another opportunity to connect and, see that this is available to anybody. The stories that you hear these leaders speak, like, they blow you away every time, right? You end up in tears, or, you just develop this different sense of connection that you can't get from, reading a post on Instagram or something like that. So I think that's a great opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have anything that they want to share if you've recently attended something, or have anything that's been sort of an aha to you from being at an event?
Susan.
Hi, Heather.
Not a doTERRA event, but I always feel this way when I do go to the doTERRA events. But I just went to a Tony Robbins event, and I was just blown away, I think, more so there by this, because it wasn't all people who were like-minded business-wise. but
Yeah.
just the energy in the room and all people who are like-minded who want to, you know, do more, get more out of life and do more in the world. So I feel that way when I go to doTERRA events too, like just that energy and being around all those like-minded people. And often, you know, especially if you're the first one in your family to go and do all these healthy changes, you're kind of the weird one. So it's nice to be surrounded by people with the same vision.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for touching on the energy thing. If you guys have anything that you would like to see at our team night on the 10th, whether it's loud music, balloons, flowers, anything that just kind of gives people that little punch of, oh, I'm in a space. Let me know. Okay. I'm totally open to anything, because you're right, Heather. I think energy has so much to do with it. Right. And on a night like that, there can be a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people kind of just, you know, figuring out who they got to connect with and find seats. So let's make sure that we really nail the energy and the culture. So please send me any messages that you think are something that we can put into play, so that we can make it a really, really cool experience. So that's it. My ask of you guys is, if you have just 5 minutes after you log off here, find a couple of people that you want to invite to the 10th. I know, like I said, we just kind of covered a lot of things that are happening. So, you know, just be strategic about who you want to connect with, and don't overwhelm anybody with things. Make sure you know what's sort of relevant to the person that you want to connect with, but just touch base with a couple people that come up to mind right away. Let them know about the 10th, because that's the first thing that's happening. And then of course the Wellness Summit that's happening in May will be the next one. And that'll be, again, for people kind of local to the London area. And if you're tuning in or watching the recording and you're not close to this London tribe, everything's going to be available for you guys on doTERRA.com in terms of the event. So whether it's, you know, so you've got people in Europe or people on the west coast of Canada, east coast, or somewhere in the States, they've got all the same events happening. So just make yourself aware. There's even that cool little map feature in your back office that you can click on to actually see where is my team? Where have I got people sprouting up? And see if you can sort of, you know, backtrack to find out who is the person who's actually doing the business in that area. Do you know who they are? Can you connect with them? And just be that sort of caretaker and inviter of all of these experiences that you guys just shared. Does anybody else have any questions before we log off? No? Okay, awesome. Well, I will post a recording of this. And I appreciate you guys for jumping on. 23 people, that's nice. Nice to see your faces and see your names. All right, so we'll hang out again next Tuesday, and then we'll see you guys, hopefully a bunch of you guys, at our team celebration night that evening. Have an awesome rest of the week.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you. And thank you, Lindsay, Lisa, Mary, for sharing. Appreciate it. Heather, too. Thank you. Bye, guys.